Hi, all. Welcome to this new episode of In Conversation with Ranjit Nair, where we head to experience the journey of to be. To be, as you know, is an experience in itself of being one's true self while becoming our own aspirations. Today, we have a special guest with us, Nivedita. Hi, Nivedita.
Hi, Ranjit.
So, Nivedita is a mother to a very beautiful daughter. She's an IT technocrat and she relishes her time being with her friends. So, in today's journey with Nivedita, we are going to get a glimpse of motherhood, what motherhood means for her and how various emotions of motherhood has changed and evolved her life to what she is today. Hi, Nivedita.
Hi, Ranjit.
So, so before I start, Nivedita, we had a very great journey together, all these months together, and I got a good glimpse of it. I want my viewers to also get a good glimpse of where we were and where we started with. So, if you can give an idea, or if you can let us know, like at the start of all this, what you have started experiencing, and when you kind of approached me, give us an idea, like what was going on with you, where were you at that moment, being a mother?
I think to plainly put it, which everybody can relate to, is being unhappy. I was very unhappy with my own self. Secondary, being a mother, being an unhappy mother or unhappy wife was secondary to me. I was very unhappy myself. And it was just putting everything at stake. The people I cherish most, the two most important people in my life, everything. Like having the most perfect life was also not, it was nowhere. I was nowhere. I was lost. I was unhappy.
Mhm.
I
And
didn't know what was making me unhappy. I didn't know what was I doing right, what was I doing wrong. Nothing was making any sense to being. I
mhm.
was very distracted, very distracted. I was just being somebody else maybe.
So during this moment, like when you were in this feelings, uh, what were you thinking about, or what were you uh, kind of giving yourself when it came to your relationship with your daughter, being as a mother? Like what was it for you at that point of time?
I I was being there, like I was doing everything that you're expected as a mother to do for your child. But in every moment, I was just coming back to be telling myself that I'm not enjoying being a mother. I'm not happy doing these things. I'm doing it as a responsibility. I'm doing it as a duty. Rather, so many people came back to me and said this to me, that you are such a hands-on mother, you can do almost everything for your daughter, and we've seen that you are taking care of her so beautifully, we need to learn from you. And in my head and in my mind, I was like, "Ki, please don't learn this from me. I'm not happy being a mother. You will not be a happy mother if you learn these things from me."
Which means while others were telling you about and praising you for being how good a mother you are, but you were in a different world. You were
Yes.
experiencing something totally very different. And can you maybe give more understanding of what was the world that you were dealing with or you were experiencing at that point?
I think internally for me, it was like people say that motherhood changes you and it's a beautiful feeling to be with your child. I was failing to understand that. I was not having those moments. I was doing everything and beyond my capacity, but it was very overwhelming for me. I so overwhelming that I wouldn't even enjoy playing with my daughter. It was just coming bird. If you'd say, how was it boiling down to? It was just boiling down to being a responsible mother or fulfilling your duties as a mother. That's all what I was doing.
So many.
There was enough care, but there was enough care and compassion, but there was the missing feeling of happiness. uh, the first time you hold your child, that feeling always stays with you, and it's so beautiful, like people can describe it in poetries, but I was failing to understand those feelings. I was not connected with those feelings at all.
Mm. So many ways you wanted to enjoy that whole feeling of motherhood, and but it was transferring or translating into responsibility, which was quite overwhelming for you, and it was
Yes,
never about being that enjoyment or being that happiness that you always wanted to experience with your daughter.
right.
So it's
Like
like,
there are a lot of people who come back and tell you, you're the perfect mother, and I used to always wonder that, no, I don't want to be a perfect mother. I want to be a happy mother to my daughter. She's not going to take the perfect qualities from me. We should have happiness with each other, and that is what she will and I will cherish lifelong.
and since you're talking about happiness, and there is a glow in your face when you're talking about happiness, like what was happiness or at that moment for you?
um I'll just tell you an incident. It still stays so fresh in me, and like I can visualize it right now. I had started day schooling for my daughter because near my school office, of course, we used to go together and come back every day. Like it used to be a timeline for me. It's 4:30. I have to pick her up. She will be waiting for me. And there was this one day. She might be barely 2 or something, less than 2 years, and I was at the door of her daycare, and the teacher just opened the door, and she was at the far end of her class, and she saw me, and the way she ran and came towards me, I mean, like, I was that still stays with me. Like, how much she might have waited for that whole day to come and hug me, and just me to carry her. That moment still stays so fresh with me. I remember what she was wearing, how she's come running, and how tiny she was. And it was like these are the things which, uh, for that moment complete you. But then again, you get into the rush of being things you. These are really special moments, and they stay with you.
I can feel it so much. So like how much it would have meant for you to
Yeah.
see that all coming right in front of you and embracing you.
Yeah.
It's
Like I was toned down into happiness, and I was shattered as a mother, like I'm so happy. She's come so lovingly to me, and every day she used to come like that. And I used to be feeling so guilty about, putting her 6, 7 hours away at the daycare. Slowly those guilts go away, but, at that moment, you were just toned down completely in happiness and sadness together.
it's so beautiful what you're saying. Like there is one phase of you telling about that moment of happiness, which is like the pivot that you want to be, like the top of it. There is also some shades while you're talking which comes about the other side of it, which is the rush of the day, the other responsibilities or the time that you just briefly mentioned about spending with her.
Yes.
So they're all coming, and somewhere it gives a glimpse that somewhere these things which you meant later on in a brief are something which in some ways were they interfering with this whole happiness that you wanted to see for yourself and your daughter.
Yes, absolutely. Like, there is always a rat race of the life that we are in, that we forget enjoying being our own individual and being in the company of people we love. That we completely forget doing that.
Mm. Mm. You say you feel like in this day-to-day responsibility, which is the routine that we keep on playing, somewhere we lose that touch or lose that
Yes,
presence that we need to have with our loved ones. Somewhere it gets
yes,
diluted.
yes, it does, it does.
So in
We
what way?
always forget to take.
Go on,
Yeah,
go
you
on.
go ahead. Yeah, we always forget to take that pause to
Mm.
enjoy a hearty laugh. Like now, since we are at home, I see that more often. Like of no reason, my daughter and I, we are just over silly things. She's just laughing heartily, and I actually stop my work and just look at her and see her in those beautiful moments because I'm sure these will stay forever.
That's so beautiful. So we are getting a glimpse of what it is now. So just kind of for a moment stepping to that phase wherein it was interfering with you. So in what way these aspects were interfering with the happiness that you wanted to create with your daughter? How they were interfering?
Um, I think it's if I have to really put it in plain, simple ways, I would say, expectations, your own expectations. You
Mm-hmm.
just want to be, doing everything beautifully and perfectly, and you just know, you just have it in your head that this is not to be done like that. This is has to be done like that. You just make up those things so much for yourself that they burden you,
Mm-hmm.
and in that burden you don't enjoy the process of doing that activity at all. Yeah, like for me at least it happened like that, like just I started up building up my own expectations of myself, and it just started piling up over me and just become such a burden that I was missing out to take that pause that okay, it's not needed to do this right now. I just need to play with her. I need to do something else which will be which will be a happy moment for her and me both.
So in many ways, you had some ways of thinking of creating those happy moments, and that was translating into expectations, constant expectations on you, and which was
Yes,
like overwhelming you. And in the way you mentioned, taking away those actual moments of happiness which you really wanted to experience with your daughter.
right.
So these expectations that you mentioned, so that viewers also get some idea of it. Like with these expectations, that where do they come from? Like what is the intention of these expectations?
I think the intentions have always been very pure. They've always been very good. It is never wrong. Your intentions are never to hurt, or even if you get angry with your child for a moment, the intention is never really to hurt. There might be a background story to it, to deal with your own self. There might be something in your own head or in your own expectations because of which it has happened. But yeah, that's what I told you, that you kind of start thinking too much instead of um just living in the moment. You start planning, you start organizing, you start making all those plans in your head, and you want them to be executed in a certain fashion. And then the essence is lost. The essence of being together is completely lost in that.
Somewhere like you're saying, when the intentions are good, everything is to, in order to have that experience with the daughter, but it's the way we kind of put so much of pressure on us to plan it, organize it, and also in many ways to decide how it should all pan out also. It all kinds of
Yes,
adds on the pressure on a mother like you, and finally in many moments you lose those moments also
right,
while doing
right.
all these things.
Yes, you become so like you start functioning with your head so much
Mhm.
that the connect with the feelings and the heart is gone. Even with even with a pure child, like the child will have no. They function so much with their feelings. They don't plan and do things. But you burden them with all your expectations, and you want them to be. You also want them to behave in a certain way, and you also start behaving in a certain expected way,
Mhm.
and that just the intentions have always been correct to keep primarily to keep them happy, to keep them safe, to give them a happy childhood, give them a safe home, a healthy parent conversations, all those things. The intentions have always been to do the right way, to do the right things. But the moment you start over planning and executing, you lose the sense of feeling those moments with your child.
So do you remember, Nivedita, like, any moment where it kind of hit you, this whole aspect of creating that experience instead of living that experience? It was interfering with living that experience, isn't it? So do you recollect any moment which made you to start your journey towards living the experience and not creating, planning, and all that expectation related experience?
I think some, yeah, while you were saying this, so there's one thing which came to my head, like uh, it's out of nowhere. Me, my husband, and my daughter, we just put on a song in the evening, and we were just, she was doing some movements. We were trying, trying to tell us to do this, do that, and we were just in a circle, doing whatever she wanted us to do. And it was maybe that's 3 or 4 minutes of our time together, but we were completely with each other. Like I could, if I will, if I'll try to explain, it was a vacuum bubble, and we three were there in it, and it was just us in synergy with our beautiful, happy thoughts clashing with each other, and we did not think about anything else but just smiling and being there.
Mhm.
That was very like I couldn't even explain. It was like beautiful thing which you kind of imagine in a fairy tale life where there will be no worries and you will have a beautiful life, live together here. Something like that. It was so beautiful.
It all came together for you all without putting any effort. It just
No,
happened.
it was very unplanned. It was not an intentional. It wasn't thought about that we will do this together. It just happened.
And it's like it came like something. That's it, what I
And
want.
that comes and
And
and that is from somebody like me who is so much into planning. Like everything of my day and life has to be planned. But yes, like people always say, and like now I've also started believing the most unplanned things are the most beautiful experiences you will have, will always stay with you.
wow. So that moment made you realize that there is something like this also, which I want to experience, and I'm experiencing it right now. So there is a way to experience that.
Yes.
So what was the journey now? Like, since you now experience that, what is it to live the experience? So what was the journey like for you to go towards that?
Um, I think it was more like, going with the flow and, being just be yourself with, and let, like even if it is a child, let her also be in a flow,
Mm.
and you can go with her flow sometimes, and sometimes then it is much more easier that she'll also flow along with you easily.
Mm.
Like, to simply put, without a plan in action, if you see how you want to go ahead with the day without planning too much, thinking too much, if you take things like that, they just pan out perfectly, and it's going in the right direction.
So before we lost you, you were saying about how in moments you experience that experience of living the experience with your daughter, like in the flow, just evolving as she evolves. So can you give us a glimpse of such moments?
um like simple things. Sometimes I tell her to do, like, let's start doing that, but she's very clear, no, let's do that. And if you let her be, it turns out to be very beautiful. um like I would like her to help me with something. Maybe I want to quickly make my lunch or something. I tell her, you come in my kitchen set, let's play kitchen set with me. So she says, no, you first come in my kitchen set, help me make my lunch, and I'll come and help you in your kitchen set. And the initially it used to be like, I used to be like, you just stay out of my kitchen. I have to quickly rush to my make my meal, and I have 100 other things to do after that, blah blah blah. And that whole small process is turned out so beautifully now, that we cook together. Like she's 4 now, but she helps me with a lot of things. She knows where things are kept in the kitchen. She'll get those to me. If I'm making omelette for her, she'd like to, break the egg, try to mix it. And this same thing was an irritating bit for me initially. Like, just give me my space and I need to do this on my own. And now we collaborate so beautifully. It feels like we flow into each other.
Mm-hmm. So in many ways, it's so beautifully you said that you you have created a space for both of you to coexist in something which earlier you could not see at the sight of her being there.
Yes,
Now you have so nicely both of you with complementing each other at the same time, making sure your bit is also done and she is also enjoying. You coexist there.
yes.
Oh, that's great. So how is it like? Like, what is the because you're cooking also, and at the same time, a play is also going for her. So, how is it for you? This whole
It
coexisting.
is it is very smooth. It's very smooth. I used to wonder, and somewhere you plan too much, that I'll tell her these things to do so that she doesn't come in between. So that, but you kind of with every day you realize that you don't need to do that. You just involve her with you and she will go along with you. Similarly, while she is playing something and she says, why don't you come, like if we are playing a Lego set, uh, she tells me, I will teach you something to do, how to make this XYZ thing with the Lego. She doesn't want me to tell her how to make it. She has her own beautiful way of telling something, making a story, and you just go with that flow with her, and that playtime is extremely enjoyable for her and me both.
So it's the same Lego thing when you were experiencing your earlier self, where you used to plan and so what it would have been like if you were playing a Lego with her before earlier.
I would have opened the instruction book, told her step one, step two, step three, step four, do this. We do that as well now, but it is with a lot of coordination and lot of agreement between both the parties. Sometimes she doesn't want to make uh, suppose the instruction says you have to put a red piece and she doesn't want to do that. Had it been my older self, I would have been, but this is written here and this is how it will look good, this is how they have told. But now I just let her be, if you want to put yellow, you want to put any other one, just go ahead with it. Sometimes we don't even end up making what we started, but we always enjoy that playtime with each other.
So there is a big change in the way you are experiencing and also putting yourself in the same set of things, like you said about Lego. So what in you has propelled you to change yourself for this? And the second thing I want to ask is, what is the change that has happened in you, which is now letting you experience the same thing in such a different way?
I think I'll answer the second one first. It's easier.
Go
I
on.
think I've calmed down myself.
Hmm.
Like if she wants to make a black sun, I don't care. Her sun can be black.
Okay.
Or rather, I see that with her, with my mother. My mother will tell her, why are you making a black flower? Flowers don't be black. And in my head at that moment, we're like, let her be. It's for flower. It's for paper. Let her do whatever she wants. If that color gives her happiness at that point to color, of course, why not? So that is huge. Like you just calm down with what is like we always have this thing in our head. No, the apple has to be red. This is how we have taught. This is how we have seen. The moment we go away from these expectations, realities, and facts, I think it's easier. You calm down with your own self. And once you're calm internally, you embrace everything beautifully that is coming your way.
Mhm. And how did this calm down internally happen to you? Because it's a big word.
Yeah, I don't have a moment or an answer to that, but I think in small maybe by doing baby steps. You have to really work on your own self first. When you find your own existence, when you find your own space, when you're happy being yourself, you are calm and you pass that on to others.
Mm-hmm. So
You
somewhere you
find your
connected to that yourself.
yes.
And for you, what was that yourself which you connected and it started changing and bringing this calmness to you? What was that yourself?
I think expression. I had stopped expressing myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had stopped expressing maybe displeasures you still express, but not you just express in the terms of just to convey your displeasures, not really why it is making you displeasures. So the question, the thing was like, the more you start expressing yourself, I am, instead of saying I'm unhappy, you could just let the person know why you're unhappy for. What what made you unhappy? Why are you in this state? Or so not only about unhappiness or displeasures, why are you happy? What made that one morning suddenly you are feeling so happy? If you just start expressing yourself, it just connects beautifully with everybody. And the like I felt it myself. The more you express your feelings, they really connect to the other person.
The
So
moment you're
even with my
saying,
daughter, if I
go
yeah,
on.
even if it's with my daughter, she might not understand what I'm trying to say. But if I tell her that, I'm really tired today and I need to sleep early and I'm lying right next to you, you sleep on your own and I'll also go off to sleep. She might not really trouble me for one more story or one more rhyme or one more playtime. It just connects to her also. She lets me be. She's also on her own. So she gets her space, I get my space, and we coexist very beautifully.
Because the moment you're saying this, it itself gives how big an influence it is for you in terms of getting that space. And also, as you rightly said, like in many ways, it gives the person in front of you an awareness of what you are or what you're going through or what state you are in, and
Right.
also opportunity to come together with you and be together in whatever you wanted to be at that point of time, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's amazing. Like, so once you found this expressiveness of yours, in many ways, it settled you to bring that calmness when you are with your daughter, to let her do what she wants to do or create her world. Like, be even if an apple is black, you're okay with apple being black. That is the calmness
Absolutely.
it helped you, the expressiveness within you. So now, when you experience your daughter with all this calmness you mentioned, so what is it? What is the experience like? Like, how are you experiencing your daughter now?
It is very pure, Ranjit. Like I can't even begin to tell you. There are moments where you don't even need to interact with her, and her presence will, drip you with the beautiful, pure soul that children are. Like you really have to experience it to understand what I'm trying to say. But like just in just a moment she's crying, just the other moment she's laughing. They are so away from they're so pure in their own being, and it just infects you. You try, like it's actually a learning from her, that you look at her and understand that how she's adapting to things and how she's being her own self, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It feels you. That's what you said. It feels you
Feels,
completely.
yeah, it completely feels it.
What
Completely feels it.
what kind of emotions it brings when you are filled with your daughter?
I think it just completes you. That
Mm.
feeling, like
Wow.
mm, there is a feeling in like a piece of your heart which was missing, and suddenly it just joins back and the whole heart is complete, and it's so um, beautifully happy. It's that feeling.
So you're full as a mother. That's what I'm sensing from you. Like you're full.
Yes.
Fullness is there as a mother in you when you are experiencing her nowadays. So how this fullness that you have, like that the fullness as a mother that you are experiencing nowadays, has it kind of touched upon other aspects of your life also, or it has predominantly been as part of your experience with your daughter?
No, it has definitely reached out and touched to everybody that I interact with. And like slowly I realized, the qualities which come up with motherhood, maybe we can say as care, nurturing, affection, unconditional support. All those things were very integral to me as an individual, and I see that getting extended to almost everybody that I interact with, in my closer circle of family, even my friends. I see that coming out very naturally to me, and
Mm-hmm.
it is extending and reaching out to others. That's what I've started. Like, I used to think that the relationship between my daughter and me is the motherhood that is what I'm experiencing, but I'm seeing that all the components which we associate are, they really reflect in every relationship that you share, whether it is with husband and wife, or to a lot of extent with your own mother. You start understanding her so much well, you appreciate her so much more, and everything.
So that's so beautifully said. So if I understand it correct, you're saying like motherhood is something we associate emotions like care, giving, compassion, being present. We associate motherhood with all those beautiful emotions. And what you're saying is that once you're full with this whole motherhood emotion, you see them also extending to other relations of yours, whether it is being with your husband, the same emotions are growing as what we term or what we relate as motherhood emotions. These emotions are growing in your relation with your husband, with your mother, with your friends. You are clearly seeing them being
Yes,
part of you and getting coming as an expression of yours.
yes,
So it's like you have grown it so much, like you're so full, like you see that now very clearly and experience that, most importantly experience that with your loved ones also.
yes.
So how does the relation, all these relations feel when you're experiencing all these beautiful emotions? Like how, what does the relation feels like when you have all these emotions in it?
I think you just see them in a very different light. You see them in a very, like, like, it's wiped clean and you're seeing them for the first time, and it's completely a new thing for you to experience. It's uh, it's it's having its own course of change that it is going through,
Mhm.
uh, in terms of how you see your relationship with everybody that you're interacting with, husband or mother or friends or anybody. You just see them in a very, very different way as you used to see them earlier.
So it brings a very totally different perspective, and these emotions are there in all these relations. Great.
Yes,
I think unbelievable because we started with where, and I think you gave a very different dynamic and perspective to the whole aspect of motherhood. So it was an amazing kind of experience for me, Nivedita, talking to you. So we will stop our conversation here, but it was a very enriching conversation I had with you. Thanks for being with us, Nivedita. And for the viewers, as you have seen, like you got a glimpse of what was the journey of Nivedita from being a mother she was earlier to being a mother she always wanted to experience, that is, to live the experience, be with the flow with her daughter. And also, and in a very artistic, in a very empathetic way, she extended that whole motherhood, the fullness of motherhood and the emotions associated with it, which is like giving, caring, compassion, all those emotions, how it has grown her not only being full or being complete, feeling complete as a mother to her daughter, but also extending her emotions to all other important relations in her life, which is with her husband, with her mother, with her friends. She feels all these emotions of a motherhood in all that emotions, which now she's giving her a completely, totally different perspective of the relation and growing her in it. So I hope, as for me, this has been a very enriching experience for you all, because I really enjoyed and the way it has evolved. So I really thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Nivedita. Thanks all for being a part of this episode, which talked about what is motherhood. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ranjit. It was lovely interacting with you.